Really, dog? Keep barking. Really though, just keep barking. Hey guys, it's Shawnee, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. So today I have a really exciting video on a couple of new Too Faced products. Today we are going to be talking about the new chocolate BONS eyeshadow palette, as well as the new Love Flush blush palette. Both of these palettes are a recent release from Too Faced, and they are part of the Spring 2016 collection, which, let me just say, how crazy is it that we are talking about spring collections in January? Either way, I just wanted to come on here and give you guys my thoughts on these two new products. The chocolate BONS palette retails for $49, and I picked mine up at Sephora, and the Love Flush blush palette retails for $36, and I picked mine up at Ulta. However, I do believe both Ulta and Sephora, as well as the Too Faced websites, sells both of these items. So in today's video, we will be doing a typical review video. I've heard a lot of hype on both of these products, but I haven't seen very many video reviews on either one. So I figured it'll be a fun little combination video to talk about the two new palettes that Too Faced released. We'll just go ahead and kick off this video by talking about the new chocolate BONS palette. This is the third palette that's a part of the Too Faced chocolate bar eyeshadow collection. This is what the actual palette itself looks like. It is so stinking cute, as everybody has pointed out. The packaging itself is this beautiful, shiny, light pink tin with the little hearts on it, and it does say chocolate bonbons here. This is what the back looks like. The packaging itself is the thinner version of the chocolate bar palettes, and when you open it up, it does have a little magnetic closure, and this is what the inside of the actual palette is. You do get a decent sized mirror here at the top, and these are the colors you are getting inside the actual palette. First things first, let's go ahead and point out the fact that the majority of these eyeshadows are in this beautiful heart-shaped pan, which is very, very unique. I haven't really seen anything like this in an eyeshadow palette. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is that I do feel like the color selection is pretty nice. It is very, very neutral for the most part. These are the only two real pops of color you're getting, this hot pink as well as this teal. And another thing I do want to make note of is that not all of the shades in this palette are new. The majority of them are new and exclusive to this palette, but I have definitely seen some of them in previous Too Faced palettes. Now, jumping right into swatches of this entire palette, I'm going to swatch them in rows. So the top row has 5 shades. From left to right, we have Almond Truffle, Satin Sheets, Sprinkles, Molasses Chip, and Malted. Now, you guys can see the majority of these colors do have really, really nice pigmentation. The two shimmery colors, or like the metallic colors, particularly Molasses Chip, which is that nice coppery rose golden bronze color, is so beautiful. Here's the second row of swatches in the palette. From left to right, we have Cashew Chew, Cotton Candy, Cafe au Lait, Bordeaux, Mocha, and Black Currant. I will say this row was a little bit of a disappointment, particularly in the matte colors. The third to last and the second to last color aren't super, super pigmented. They definitely needed to be built up quite a bit. And here's the last row of swatches in the palette. From left to right, we have Dark Truffle, Pecan Praline, Totally Fetch, Earl Grey, and Divinity. This one, I will say, out of all 3 of the rows, is the most disappointing in my opinion. I had to build all of these colors up significantly, particularly the pink, which is Totally Fetch, and even the blue a little bit, which is Earl Grey. I didn't feel like this row really impressed me very much. Now, in terms of texture on these shadows, they are pretty consistent with the previous 2 chocolate bar palettes. So if you have either of those two, you kind of know the Too Faced texture. I feel like it is a little bit thinner of a texture than, say, like an Urban Decay eyeshadow. Even something like the Makeup Forever Artist shadows, or like the Makeup Geek foiled shadows. You know how they have almost like this thick creamy gel-like texture. These definitely don't have them. These are very, very much of a traditional powder shadow. A lot of the matte shades needed to be built up. They aren't super, super pigmented, but they're also not necessarily chalky. They blend really nicely, and sometimes they blend a little too nicely. Oftentimes I'll put on some of these colors, and as I go to blend them, they may just blend away a little bit. That's why I found generally with any Too Faced palette, including when I use the original chocolate bar palettes, I always tend to use a really good primer and an eyeshadow base to really help this formula stick to the skin. Now overall, if you are a fan of the previous chocolate bar palettes and you like the texture of those shadows, and if you're attracted to the colors in this palette, I definitely think it's a great value for money. My favorite colors in the palette would definitely be Satin Sheets. I also really, really love Molasses Chip, which is that gorgeous, gorgeous metallic coppery rosy color. I like the uniqueness that is Earl Grey, but I know that Too Faced has released a color like this in a previous palette that I think I already own as well. So I don't feel like the color selection is anything to go crazy over. I honestly think more than anything, the reason this palette is getting so much hype is not necessarily for the colors, but just the cuteness that is this palette. It's very, very unique. Okay, now let's get right into talking about my favorite of the two. This is the Love Flush Blush palette. Now the palette itself is very, very long. You can see it's nice and thin. It's in a relatively sturdy cardboard packaging with a magnetic closure. It also does have a mirror here at the top, and you get all 6 of the permanent shades of Too Faced Love Flush Blush. Now for any of you guys who don't know this already, the Too Faced Love Flush blushes are amazing in quality. This formula actually really reminds me of the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes. These are slightly stiffer in the pan, but when you use a brush and get them on your skin, they deliver tons of pigmentation and they last all day long. Now Too Faced does claim these to be 16-hour wear blushes, and I'll be perfectly honest, I have not worn my makeup for 16 hours, especially anytime I'm wearing these blushes. So I haven't been able to test the 16-hour claim, but I have gotten them to last a good 12 to 14 hours. If you guys just take a peek at the colors offered in this palette, it's really nice. You're getting everything from some neutrals, berries, corals. Most are matte, some have some metallic shimmer. So here are swatches of the blush palette. From left to right, we have Love Hangover, Baby Love, I Will Always Love You, How Deep Is Your Love, Justify My Love, and Your Love Is King. Now you guys can see by the swatches that these blushes don't necessarily swatch out super pigmented or anything like that, but these are blushes you really need to use with a brush and use them on your face. I do feel like that is oftentimes the misconception with Tarte's Amazonian Clay blushes as well. Oftentimes people will go into Sephora or Ulta, swatch them on their finger and say, these are so stiff, they don't deliver any color. But for some reason, a brush really brings out the magic with these blushes. These almost go on like a powder stain. When you put them on the skin, they're pretty easy to blend out. You can build them up if you want, but they really do leave a long-lasting stained appearance on the skin. And in case you guys don't know how much I really love these blushes, I own all 6 of these blushes in the full size form. But I still felt the need to get this palette because I think it's a great little travel companion. You can have all of the shades of blush you will ever need in this little palette. And just to do a little comparison for you guys, this is a full size of the Too Faced Love Flush blush. Here you guys can see a full size Too Faced Love Flush blush next to the pans that are in this palette. Now in a full-size blush, you are getting 6 grams of product, and in each of these little pans, you are getting 2 grams of product. So each of these pans is 1/3 the size of a full-size blush, but you are getting the chance to try all 6 of the shades. And FYI, a full-size blush retails for $26. So for just 10 bucks more, you are getting the chance to try all 6 shades. The pans are a very, very reasonable size, especially for the price. So yeah, my overall thoughts on these 2 new Too Faced products is that they are both very, very good in quality. I'm not crazy about the Chocolate Bonbons palette simply for the fact that it's not a unique palette, but I love this Love Flush blush palette. And I think if you have never tried any of these Love Flush blushes, this is the best way for you to get your hands on every single shade they offer. And the quality of these is exactly the same as what you would purchase in the full size. So this is definitely the standout winner out of the 2. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the little mini reviews on the 2 products. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have checked out either one of these products or any of the other new Too Faced things that they released for their spring collection, because I know there are new melted liquid lipsticks. There's a cute brush. I think they released a highlight or something like that as well. So there's a lot of things to pick from. These were the 2 things I purchased initially, but I'm definitely gonna go back and check out those melted liquid lipsticks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video on Monday. I'll see you then. Bye! Lonnie came to their senses and made their super, super popular Amore. I have plenty of other junk to show you. I got stuff from Walgreens, I got stuff